Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most surprising and quietly legendary coins hiding in the vast universe of modern American change. And if you've ever wondered whether something as ordinary as a dime could secretly be worth more than a full luxury vacation, a brand new car, or even several months of salary, then stay with me, because what you're about to hear will absolutely shift the way you look at your pocket change forever. This is the story of the 1998 D. Roosevelt dime, a coin born in the late 90s, a time of booming technology, rising optimism, and an era when the United States Mint in Denver was producing millions upon millions of coins every single day. It was a time when nobody expected the humble dime to become a potential jackpot. After all, the Roosevelt dime is one of the most familiar pieces of American currency. You've seen it, you've used it for a parking meter, a vending machine, or maybe you've left hundreds of them rolling around in your car's cup holder. But, as with all things in the numismatic world, sometimes the most unassuming items hold the greatest surprises. The year 1998 itself wasn't particularly known for major dime varieties or widespread minting mistakes. That's part of what makes this story so compelling. We're not talking about a coin famous for massive errors, no double dies that everyone knows, no dramatic misstrikes catching the eye at a glance. The 1998 D dime is, at its core, a standard circulation coin, except for one extremely extraordinary example that changed everything. It reminded collectors and everyday hobbyists that hidden gems still surface even in the most modern minting years. So let's ground ourselves in the basics before unraveling its mystery. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, honoring his leadership and his founding efforts behind the March of Dimes. Over the decades, the design has stayed remarkably consistent: Roosevelt's portrait on the front and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mark tucked just above the date, produced well over 1 billion dimes in 1998. With production numbers that high, you'd never think to pull one from your pocket and assume it could be anything more than 10 cents of spending power, and yet, one specific 1998 D Roosevelt dime turned the collecting world upside down. It wasn't discovered in pristine condition straight from a mint set. It didn't come with a carefully preserved pedigree from a collector's vault. Instead, it made its appearance wrapped in the normal, everyday flow of cash, quietly sitting there until an observant collector realized this particular dime wasn't just another piece of change. It was a treasure. Now, what makes this coin stand apart? It wasn't just its sharp strike or a stunningly clean surface, though both of those characteristics helped. The real magic came from the combination of exceptional condition, nearly flawless presentation, and an unusual survival rarity that defied the odds. Most circulated coins from the 90s show wear from years of use, scratches, dull luster, tiny nicks from rubbing against millions of other coins in machines, pockets, purses, counters, and cash drawers. But the star of our story today somehow managed to escape almost all of that. It lived an impossibly protected life, and when it was graded by one of the major grading companies, the result was so extraordinary that it made collectors everywhere stop, stare, and re-evaluate what a modern dime could be worth. Let's imagine that moment. A professional grader examines the coin under magnification. The luster swirls under the light like liquid silver. The fields remain nearly untouched. The devices, Roosevelt's profile, the lettering, the torch, look crisp, sharp, and perfectly formed. No dents. No friction wear. No dulling. Not even the light rubs commonly seen on coins straight out of government packaging. It's the type of condition that feels almost unreal for a 1998 circulation strike, and that's precisely why this dime achieved a spectacular grading designation, and that grading designation is the key. When a coin reaches the uppermost tiers of the mint state scale, particularly MS-68 or above, it elevates from a simple coin into a rarity. With a modern coin, high grades don't just mean clean or shiny, they mean survival against impossible odds. They mean the coin avoided the chaotic world of circulation in a way most coins simply can't. And when that single 1998 D dime crossed the auction block, collectors recognized it as a once-in-a-generation piece for the series, but the part that truly shocked everyone wasn't just the grade, it was the price. When the gavel dropped, the coin sold for a jaw-dropping amount that still echoes through numismatic circles today. And the sale created a ripple effect. Suddenly, people began searching through old jars of change. Metal detectors started sweeping old park grounds. Collectors pulled out every 1998 dime they'd ever saved, hoping to find a rival. But so far, nothing has matched the rarity or the perfection of that standout specimen. That single sale didn't just make headlines, it sparked conversations about the potential value hidden in modern coinage. Too often, collectors and casual hobbyists alike assume that only old, silver, or historically rare coins can reach high price tags. But the truth is that modern coins, when they exist in near impossible perfect conditions, can command staggering premiums. And that truth was fully realized when this dime became a record setter. The amazing thing about this story is how it reshapes our appreciation of everyday objects. It reminds us that the things we overlook, spare change, pocket lint, forgotten coins at the bottom of a drawer, can sometimes hold breathtaking potential. It encourages us to slow down, look carefully, and rediscover the excitement of the small mysteries hiding in the corners of ordinary life. Imagine stumbling on a dime like this yourself. You empty your pockets at the end of the day, pour some change into a dish, and suddenly you notice a coin that looks just a bit brighter, a bit cleaner, a bit more crisp around the edges. You take a closer look. Maybe you see the Denver Mint mark. You notice the year, 1998. Your curiosity deepens. You hold it under a lamp, turning it gently. And for a moment, you wonder, could it be? Could this little coin, this tiny piece of metal worth only 10 cents to the world, actually hold the power to change your life? Stories like the 1998 Roosevelt dime remind us that hidden value is everywhere. Sometimes it sits in plain sight, waiting for the right set of eyes. Sometimes it sleeps unnoticed for decades before someone discovers its secret. And sometimes, just sometimes, it turns an ordinary day into an unforgettable one. We're diving deep into one of those hidden treasures, the United States of America 2007 P Mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime. But this isn't just any dime. This is a coin that has surprised the coin collecting world with its rarity, its condition, and its unexpected jump in value. So settle in, because we're going to explore the full story behind this 10-cent masterpiece, its origin, its design, its production, its mysteries, and ultimately, the breathtaking price a special example of this coin achieved, the legacy behind the Roosevelt dime. To understand why the 2007 dime is even worth talking about, we have to start with the history behind the Roosevelt dime itself. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the passing of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. His leadership through World War II and his dedication to the March of Dimes campaign made him a beloved figure in American history. The dime became a tribute to his legacy, small but mighty, simple but enduring. For decades, the dime's design stayed virtually unchanged. The portrait created by John R. Sinek, sharp, dignified, and unmistakably Roosevelt, graced the obverse. The reverse design, featuring a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolized strength, peace, and victory. A coin that carried meaning, purpose, and a message of American perseverance, and even as decades passed and minting technology evolved, people continued to see the Roosevelt dime as ordinary pocket change. But as collectors know, even ordinary things can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. Enter the 2007 Roosevelt dime. Fast forward to 2007. At the Philadelphia Mint, millions of Roosevelt dimes rolled off the presses. A common year. Nothing unusual on the surface. A simple Mint Roosevelt dime, light, bright, and ready for circulation, but what makes some of these coins special is not the year itself, it's the condition. The United States Mint produces dimes by the tens of millions, and most land in cash registers, pockets, laundry machines, and dusty drawers. The overwhelming majority get scratched, worn down, or dented. That's why business strike coins in perfect condition are so incredibly rare, and that brings us to one very special 2007 dime, graded and certified, preserved in astonishing condition, and ultimately sold for a price that made collectors' jaws drop. But before we get to that final dramatic number, let's explore what drives such huge collector values in the first place, why this coin stands out. Coins become valuable for three major reasons: rarity, demand, and condition. Let's break those down. Rarity. Even though the 2007 dime had a high mintage, coins in perfect condition, coins that somehow escape scratches, bag marks, nicks, or dullness, are extremely rare. Many collectors search for a flawless example, but only a tiny fraction ever achieve the highest grading levels from trusted grading companies. Demand. Collectors love high-grade modern coins. They want to build complete date and mint collections in the best condition possible. For the Roosevelt dime series, each year brings new challenges, and some years prove much harder than expected. The 2007 dime became one of those sleeper years, common at first glance, shockingly tough in top condition. Condition. This is the big one. The difference between a dime worth 10 cents and a dime worth thousands of dollars comes down to microscopic perfection. Under high-powered lighting, expert graders check the coin strike, luster, surface quality, and overall eye appeal. Only the absolute best receive a top-tier grade, and those are the coins collectors fight over. It was one of these extraordinarily pristine examples of the 2007 dime that ignited excitement worldwide, the auction that shocked collectors. Collectors gathered. Bidding paddles rose. Online bidders hovered over their keyboard, watching the numbers flash higher and higher. A modern dime, something almost everybody has held at least once, was capturing the attention of top collectors, investors, and hobbyists, and then, at the height of the bidding, a final, unexpected offer came in. The room fell quiet, the auctioneer's voice echoed, "Sold." A 2007 Roosevelt dime had achieved a stunning sale price, one that instantly set it apart as one of the most valuable modern Roosevelt dimes ever recorded. A price no ordinary person would ever expect for a coin so small. We'll reveal that price at the end, in words, just as requested. What makes a 2007 dime potentially valuable today? If you're watching this wondering, do I have one of these? The honest answer is, maybe. But there are specific things you need to look for. 1. Exceptional luster. The surfaces should shine evenly, reflecting light as though the coin were freshly minted. 2. Strong strike. Every detail, from Roosevelt's hair to the torch's flame, should appear crisp and sharply defined. 3. No scratches or dings. Even the tiniest mark can drop a grading score dramatically. 4. Mint state condition. Coins that have never circulated stand the best chance of achieving a high grade. That means no wear, no metal softness, no signs of handling. 5. Grading. To reach extreme values, the coin must be professionally graded. A collector's personal opinion is never enough. It must be sealed, certified, authenticated, and assigned a grade by a major grading company. If your 2007 dime checks all these boxes, you might have something worth far more than pocket change. The Philadelphia Mint in 2007. Behind the scenes, the Philadelphia Mint, known for the Mint mark on coins like our featured dime, is one of the most active production facilities in the United States. In 2007, the mint was producing millions of coins daily, quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies, ensuring the nation had a steady supply of currency, but high production speed often means that perfection becomes rare. With machinery running constantly, even small variations in pressure, planchet quality, or die wear can make flawless coins almost impossible to find. That's why the few pristine survivors of any common year can suddenly become valuable. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of modern U.S. coinage to explore the story of the 2013 P-Mint Roosevelt dime, yes, that tiny 10-cent piece, and how a specific example shocked collectors by reaching sky-high prices at auction. By the time you finish this video, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. Let's begin with the coin itself. The Roosevelt dime has been a staple of American currency since 1946, created to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt after his death. What makes this coin iconic isn't just its portrait or symbolism, but its remarkable longevity. It has remained virtually unchanged for decades, a comforting, familiar piece of metal that has traveled through countless hands, pockets, and generations. And even though billions of these dimes have been minted since its introduction, certain years, certain mint marks, and certain special types can soar dramatically in value. Fast forward to 2013, a year when the United States Mint produced dimes in the tens of millions, particularly at the Philadelphia Mint, which is what the P Mint mark stands for. On the surface, the 2013 P Roosevelt dime isn't rare at all. In fact, for everyday use, it's as ordinary as any coin you might get back in change when buying a pack of gum. But here's the twist: when it comes to coin collecting, ordinary is only the starting point. What matters most is condition, errors, unusual die varieties, and the survival of extraordinarily perfect examples. Before we talk about the jaw-dropping auction price associated with a 2013 P Roosevelt dime, we need to zoom into the world of grading. When coins are minted, they begin their lives immaculate, shiny, pristine, sharply struck. But then reality hits, machines jostle them, bags scratch them, circulation wears them down. By the time most coins reach our hands, they've been through a lifetime of bumps and bruises. That's where coin grading services step in. Companies like PCGS and NGC analyze coins and assign them a numerical grade from 1 to 70. A coin graded 70 is considered absolutely flawless under magnification, a nearly impossible level of perfection. A grade in the high 60s already places a coin in elite territory, especially when it comes to modern business strike coins. You might think that because millions of 2013 P dimes were minted, getting a perfect or near-perfect one should be easy. But the opposite is true. In mass production, tiny imperfections are almost unavoidable. Striking quality varies, handling marks occur instantly, and dies degrade over time. Now, here is where things get very interesting. In recent years, a single 2013 P Roosevelt dime achieved an astonishing level of collector demand, not because it was old, not because it was silver, not because it had a dramatic mint error, but because it received an exceptionally high grade, placing it among the most perfect examples known. This incredible grade elevated an everyday coin to elite status. Collectors, especially those chasing registry sets, are willing to pay premium prices to secure the highest graded examples of each date and mint mark. It becomes a competition: who can build the finest set? For a registry collector who wants the best of the best, rarity isn't just about how many coins exist, but how many exist in top condition. The 2013 P dime in question reached such a level of perfection that it became one of the finest known. And when two determined collectors want the same flawless coin, fireworks happen at auction. This brings us to the moment that stunned numismatists. In an intense bidding session, a breathtakingly high-graded 2013 P Roosevelt dime crossed the auction block and soared to a price no casual coin collector would ever expect for a modern, non-silver, everyday dime. It wasn't an inherited coin from a grandparent's attic. It wasn't recovered from an old treasure chest. It was a coin minted just a decade earlier, a coin many people unknowingly carry every day. The story of this dime's value is a testament to something remarkable in the collecting community: modern coins can be treasures too. They don't need to be a century old. They don't need to be from a bygone era. Sometimes all it takes is stunning preservation and timing. The collector market is alive, competitive, and passionate. So what should you look for if you happen to come across a 2013 P Roosevelt dime? Start with condition. The cleaner, brighter, and sharper the coin appears, the better. Look for crisp details in Roosevelt's hair, the torch, the olive branch, and the oak branch. Pay attention to the fields, the smooth flat areas, because that's where scratches and marks show most clearly. A coin from circulation probably won't be worth a fortune, but one pulled from an original mint roll or mint set might be surprisingly high quality. Occasionally, rolls released to banks or collectors contain exceptionally well-struck coins that escape the typical wear from transportation. These are the diamonds in the rough that grading companies love. Errors also play a role in coin value. While the famous high-value 2013 P dime wasn't an error coin, you should still check for unusual features such as doubling, missing elements, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Modern minting is more precise than ever, but mistakes still happen, and collectors adore unique anomalies. But the real takeaway here is the power of quality. The reason this coin achieved astonishing value wasn't rarity in the traditional sense, it was rarity in condition. A perfect modern coin is sometimes even harder to find than an old one, especially when billions were minted but only a microscopic fraction survived in flawless form. Think of it like finding a brand new car from 1950 with 0 miles and no scratches. It isn't rare because it's old, it's rare because it should have been worn out, but somehow wasn't. This leads us to the thrilling part of the story that collectors still talk about. When the bidding war reached its peak, the final hammer price landed at a figure that left many stunned. For a coin most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground, this was a moment of shock, excitement, and inspiration for collectors everywhere. It proved that the world of numismatics is full of surprises, and even modern coins can hold unbelievable potential.